Hello and welcome back. I'm Nick and I help run Camp Zoofari here at the Houston Zoo. We're excited to bring the zoo to you with Camp Zoofari TV. Today we're going to learn all about animals in action. We'll dive into the mechanics of how and why animals move the way that they do. How do these unique adaptations species have help them survive in environments where others cannot? We'll learn that physical adaptations are sometimes visible, like a giraffe's long neck or a chameleon's ever-moving eyes and changing colors. Other times that adaptation is internal and has to do with how an animal can move, like cheetahs being built for speed, or how well or poorly an animal, like our naked mole rats, can see or not see. Along the way, we'll test your animal knowledge and discover ways that you can join the zoo in its mission of saving animals in the wild.
Maasai giraffes are well designed to be the lookouts of the African savanna. Their species has evolved with more elongated features, such as long legs and necks, to better suit their environment and chances for survival. Long necks allow giraffes to reach tree leaves that are further up in the trees, and their long legs give them the advantage when trying to run from a predator like a lion or kick in self-defense. While the exact cause of these stretched features has been debated, the fact remains the same, that over time and many, many years, giraffes with longer necks and longer legs outlived other giraffes with shorter necks and legs. For that reason, giraffes as a species are taller than many other herbivores in the African savanna. Here at the Houston Zoo, our giraffe herd is home to 5 Maasai giraffes, including baby Bobby, who is 9 months old. He was born to mom Chameleon in September. Even though he's only 9 months old, he's getting tall. He's now about 8 feet tall. That's like 2 campers standing on top of one another. Most of Bobby's height is his neck. Giraffes' necks can be 6 feet long, or as tall as Mr. Nick. But even though their necks are very long, they have the same number of neck bones or vertebrae that we do. These 7 bones are elongated at about 9 to 10 inches long and are supported by flexible joints and hundreds of pounds of muscle. All that muscle is needed to hold their neck upright and to keep it mobile and easy to move. It also takes a lot of effort for a heart to pump blood through an entire body, especially when it's fighting gravity. Giraffes have blood pressures that are twice that of humans. This is a necessity to ensure blood can be pushed up their long necks to their brains. They also have specially adapted pressure sensors and blood vessels in their necks, which allow them to expand or constrict to adjust blood flow. Imagine you have an ice pop that you're trying to squeeze out of the plastic wrapper. If you pinch or constrict the bottom of the pop, the ice will slide up. If you stop pinching it, the ice would slide back down, and it would take a lot of effort to try and slurp it out. Nestled within our necks to help us breathe is a tube called a trachea. When we inhale, fresh air is pulled into our lungs, and we can exhale oxygen-depleted air and carbon dioxide from our last breath. In humans, the trachea is about 4 inches long. Giraffes, on the other hand, have a 7-foot-long windpipe. This means when a giraffe wants to exhale, the air must travel 7 feet back up and out of a giraffe's system. It's impossible for them to completely expel all the air, so they compensate with oversized lungs and a slower rate of breathing. Giraffes breathe at 1/3 the rate we do, and their lungs are 8 times as large. This means for every 3 breaths we take, a giraffe would only take 1. The Houston Zoo helps save giraffes in the wild by partnering with organizations in Kenya who patrol areas where giraffes live. These partners keep them safe from illegal hunters and wire traps intended to catch wildlife. Just by visiting the Houston Zoo, you are helping to save giraffes in the wild. Welcome back. Let's check your animal knowledge. There are more than 200 species of chameleons worldwide, and they come in a wide range of colors. However, all these lizards share some very important characteristics and features that make them unique and well adapted for tree living. Look at this Meller's chameleon in the reptile and amphibian house. What do you notice about the way chameleons move and interact with their habitat? These lizards are adapted for climbing, and their feet look just like a parrot's. It's called zygodactylus, and it means that they have toes facing forward and toes facing back. This arrangement is common in species that climb tree trunks and clamber through foliage. They have a better grip on the vines and branches they cling to. Chameleons can also move their eyes separately. This adaptation allows the chameleon to see 2 different objects at the same time. It also gives them a full 360-degree view of their surroundings. This is helpful for watching for predators as well as finding food. Look at its long, rapidly movable tongue. Chameleons have special tongues that consist of highly modified bones, muscles, and collagen. They can project their tongues to reach prey in as little as 0.07 seconds. That's less than 1 second. They have a quick recoil as well. If you've ever stretched a rubber band and let it snap back, that is a similar elastic recoil mechanism to how their tongue works. They also have curly, prehensile tails that are like an extra hand to help them hold on and balance as they navigate through the trees. Chameleons are well known for their color-changing ability. They do this by changing how light is reflected off special crystals layered in their skin. Color change helps with camouflage, but is used more for communicating with other chameleons. They can also change color temperature and other environmental conditions. Chameleons tend to show brighter colors when displaying aggression towards other chameleons, and darker colors when they submit or give up. For our keepers, a chameleon's color is a good indicator of their overall health and well-being. Let's check your animal knowledge.
We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. Are you?
The banded mongoose inhabits various regions of Africa in savanna, open forest, and grassland habitats. They primarily feed on beetles and millipedes and live in colonies that create large networks of dens for shelter. Their long, strong claws allow them to dig and forage. You might mistake the banded mongoose for a meerkat, and we can totally see why. They look a lot alike and are in the same family of mammals, but they have a few differences, including a mongoose's pronounced black stripes and their habitat in the wild. Mongooses live in a different region of Africa throughout much of the East, Southeast, and South Central Africa, while meerkats only live in the far south. Here at the Houston Zoo, our colony of 13 banded mongooses live in the Children's Zoo. You can see them dig their tunnels and forage for their favorite foods, mealworms and crickets. While the mongoose species we have at the zoo doesn't have this super cool adaptation, the Indian gray mongoose is well known for its ability to fight and kill venomous snakes, particularly cobras. If you've heard the nursery rhyme Rikki Tikki Tavi, it's based around the story of a mongoose protecting a family from a cobra. They can so fearlessly interact with cobras because of their thick coats and specialized acetylcholine receptors. This basically means they're immune to smaller doses of snake venom. Time for another quiz.
Something I love to do is to sit and watch animals interact with each other and their environment. And that's something you guys can do too to help us save animals in the wild. At the zoo, this is my favorite sit spot. A sit spot is any place that you can sit, be comfortable, and observe the natural world around you. From this spot, I've seen blue jays swoop down chasing after toads. I've seen fledgling hawks learning to take their first flights. I've even seen caterpillars turn into the most beautiful butterflies. But how does a sit spot help you save animals? You might be wondering. First, let's talk about what it takes to find a sit spot. All you need are some comfortable clothes and some time. Walk around until you find a spot that you'd be comfortable sitting in for a short period of time. Once you're there, all you have to do is sit and observe. Listen to the sounds. Look around. Observe everything you can see. After sitting for just a few moments, you might be amazed at the number of animals you can find. If you go back and visit that spot at a different time of day or a different time of year, do you see the same animals? If you take some paper and supplies with you, can you draw any of the animals that you see? If drawing's not your thing, take a camera and snap some photos, or write a story using the animals you see as characters. Either way, share those with us on social media. By finding a sit spot and observing the animals you see, you'll start to realize that we're all connected. Also, there are things you can do to improve your sit spot. If your sit spot's at home or on your patio, you can make sure that you have native plants available to provide food, shelter, and shade. If your sit spot's at home, A bird feeder or a bird bath will ensure that birds have food and water to play and splash around in. If your sit spot's in a public place like a park or along a trail, you can make sure that when you leave your sit spot, it's as clean as when you found it. Even by picking up one piece of trash, that's helping. And little actions like that can add up to a huge difference.
Here are cheetahs Dash and Denari. These 3-year-old cheetahs are the fastest land mammal and have the ability to reach speeds up to 70 miles per hour. That's as fast as a car on a highway. But how do they do it? They have small, lightweight heads and enlarged nostrils for oxygen intake, and they also have enlarged heart and lungs to help supply the body with all that oxygen. Although they have these adaptations specifically for speed, they are only sprinters. With all that power, they can only run at top speeds for about 30 seconds before they get winded. They have large forward-facing eyes with binocular vision. This means they have incredible depth perception for catching their prey. Just like an athlete might put black paint under their eyes to prevent glare from the stadium lights, cheetahs have built-in glare protection. The black teardrop markings on their face reflect sunlight and prevents glare so they can use their supervision to catch prey. With a stride that can cover 30 feet in one bound, cheetah spines also have special adaptations built for speed. In order to have greater movement of their legs, cheetahs have a flexible spine and a small flattened rib cage. See that long tail? It's not just cute. Cheetahs have long tails that help them balance during their sprints, and it also helps with steering during quick direction changes. If you have a house cat, you know that your sweet kitty has retractable claws. That means they can pull in and hide their claws. Cheetah's claws are different. They're semi-retractable claws, meaning they are partially out all the time. They use their claws like soccer cleats for better traction when they zip across the savannah to catch a meal. Hey guys, it's quiz time! Naked mole rats live in a colony like our leafcutter ants from last week, with a queen, soldier, and worker mole rats. They spend their entire lives underground in a network of tunnels and burrows with little access to daylight. That being said, they don't regulate their body temperatures well, so when it is cold, they stay closer to the surface, and when it gets hot, they retreat to lower, cooler areas of their burrow. Naked mole rats live underground, and even though they have the ability to see, they do not rely on their vision. Instead, they rely on their sense of smell and touch to explore their environment. They are also very vocal when communicating to other individuals with squeaks, grunts, and growls. Their underground home is divided into areas for nesting, food storage, and waste. Here at the Houston Zoo, our 43 naked mole rats live in Caruth Natural Encounters. When you visit, you can follow along the tunnels in our mole rat habitats and see the worker mole rats moving materials around. Let's check your animal knowledge.
So Peter Rabbit was born a few days before Easter. Unfortunately, we think he was dropped right after birth. He did end up with a skull fracture on the very crown of his head, and that is why he is up here at the clinic with us, being raised by humans instead of by his mom. Normally we would do everything we can to keep a monkey with his monkey mom because that's the best way. We're going to be watching little Peter Rabbit pretty carefully for any neurological or physical problems from his skull fracture. We're very hopeful that it will heal just fine and he'll be fine. If not, we'll treat him to the best of our ability. But we think we're going to get him through this just fine and get him back with his monkey family. One important thing we're trying to do is balance a fine line between giving Jack all the attention and physical stimulation that he needs and not getting him too attached to us because we want him to live with his monkey family. But one of the things his mom would be doing is touching him and grooming him quite frequently. So we do touch him and groom him and make sure that he gets the physical touching so that he develops normally. Just by supporting the Houston Zoo, you're helping us save this species and many other types of primates in the wild.
It's so neat to see how different animals have different adaptations to help them in action. This is my friend Denver, and Denver's a blue and gold macaw. In his rainforest home, Denver has a ton of adaptations that help him move around. First, he has these magnificent wings, good bird, that help him fly up over the treetops. Once he's in and around the trees though, those wings make it difficult for him to move about. So instead, Denver will use his toes to perch and his beak like a hand to help him climb. Just like the chameleon we saw earlier, Denver is zygodactylic. Good job, Denver. Meaning he has 2 toes facing forward and 2 facing backwards. Perfect for climbing around the trees. In fact, when he's not flying, climbing is his favorite way to get around. A macaw's beak and tongue are also very special. Their beak is so strong that they can bite through and crush some of their favorite foods. Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts come in a big pod similar to a coconut and just as strong. But with that beak, Denver can tear through them to get to the nut inside. Once he's gotten to the nut, he uses his tongue like we'd use our finger. In fact, his tongue has a bone in it, making it work in exactly the same way. If you could have any combination of adaptations we've talked about today for a single day, what would you choose and why? Join us next week as we bring the zoo to you.
Hi, I'm Lee Emke, the President and CEO of the Houston Zoo. After more than 2 months of being closed, we are ready and excited to welcome you back to reconnect with the animals you know and love. To ensure the health and safety of you, your family, and our animals, here are a few of the modifications you can expect during your next visit.
The Houston Zoo is now accepting advanced reservations, online only, for all visitors and zoo members at houstonzoo.org. For the health and safety of our guests, staff, and animals, and to ensure adequate social distancing, a limited number of timed tickets will be available each day and only available online at houstonzoo.org. Pick the day and time you'd like to visit, and you will receive an electronic ticket that can be scanned by one of our team members when you arrive. Once inside, guests will follow a modified one-way path through the zoo to see many of their favorite animals in outdoor wildlife habitats, including elephants, rhinos, gorillas, lions, and many more. Guests will not have access to indoor animal exhibits or high-touch areas of the zoo. Some sit-down restaurants are open at limited capacity, and food and beverages are available for purchase at multiple locations. All food and beverage locations are credit card only. All zoo staff are required to wear masks while working, and as recommended by the Houston Health Department and the CDC, guests are strongly encouraged to wear a face covering when visiting the zoo. Hand sanitizer stations are positioned at the entrance and exit and along the path, including restrooms and food locations. Zoo staff will disinfect all high-touch surfaces, including vending machines, tables, chairs, and more. For more detailed information and to reserve your ticket, visit houstonzoo.org.